You are listening to the Bring Joy Forward podcast. Conversations to explore, heal, and grow. You can find us on bringjoyforward.com and join us in our community group on Facebook. We now take you to the episode. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, welcome to the Bring Joy Forward podcast. I am Ramona Crabtree-Falkner with Authentic Life Journey, and I am joined by Stacy Piccolo of Mind Movement Coaching. Hi.
Awesome to be here with you again, Ramona.
Yeah, I'm so grateful we have these opportunities to connect and dive into all these spiritual experiences and practices that I know for me are integral to creating the life that I am dreaming of. And so that's what we're going to dive into today. It's talking about how do we manifest the life that we want. So one of the things that I have been really dialing into since the first of the year has been the concepts around manifestation and how to fine tune my already existing practices with it. And I realized something about myself that I thought was pretty funny. Like, I teach all of this information and I'm guiding other people down the road. And I realized that I kind of am a manifest as I need it kind of girl.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I have made a decision that 2024 is the year that that's going to change. Like, my intentions this year is that it is an active connection to manifesting, because the reality is we're manifesting all the time. So whether it's intentional or passive. Mm-hmm. So when I say that I'm dialing in my connection with my manifesting power, it is I am taking a daily experience of connecting to being very purposeful where I'm putting my energy to manifest a much bigger vision. And I'm really excited for us to have this talk today and dial into that a little bit more as a community.
Yeah, absolutely. And wouldn't you know it, I've also been really, like your words are dialing in, but really focused on manifesting and noticing that, you said you're doing it when you want it, right? I get that. But also for me, it's like my mind takes me away from that because my mind doesn't want to do that. It wants to stay exactly where it is and just do the same old familiar thing. So it is a point where I realize, okay, that's it. I have to do my manifesting practices. I have to change the way my thoughts are, change what negative things I am thinking of, because it's like a whole shift to then go into manifesting. Because you can't really manifest too well with a negative mindset, because like you said, it's passively manifesting things we don't want.
Right. And so that those negative thought forms and the maybe the paradigm of beliefs that we might have that are not aligned to our vision, if we're spending more time in that pool, then that's what's presenting and manifesting itself into our lives.
Absolutely.
I'm going to share an example because I think that it's pretty powerful when we can share story and then share the flip, right? How do we shift it? So I spent a good portion of my career just like getting up in the morning and running to work and doing the thing. And then all of a sudden I'd have a month where business was slow and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do some manifesting. And like
right.
That's what I meant when I said I'm kind of like, as I need it, I was going to manifest, instead of recognizing that I was actually manifesting all the time.
Yeah.
And seeing that the need to manifest was actually me recognizing that I had manifested myself into a negative.
Right. Yeah. And it's coming out of the lack of what you want. So.
Yeah. And so I have been over the last 5 years really working at being more purposeful with my thoughts and how I feel about my life and my business and all of that. And so in the times that I was really focusing on my intentions, like what it is I wanted to create and how I wanted to feel and where I wanted my life to go, then those things were happening. And so I realized, like, as I took reflection at the end of 20 23, I was like, wow, I really manifested a lot this year because I really was giving my attention in the direction of what it is that I wanted. And at the same time, I had a little circumstance in my life where I wasn't necessarily being really intentional with my thoughts, and I was feeling very overwhelmed. And so I was manifesting a lot of uncomfortableness.
Right. Yep.
So all of that reflection, I always take reflection in December, like, okay, how do I want to enter this next year? Where do I want to put my attention? What's my word? So my word for this year has surfaced as focus. And so that means that I want to really focus my mind in a very specific direction. I always think of the goddess Diana when I think of this, because, she pulls back her bow and arrow, and she's got, a focused intention, and she is looking directly at what it is she's about to strike that arrow with. And so right now I'm like, I'm Wonder Woman. I'm doing the stance and being like, all right, I'm empowered to stay focused this year.
Right.
So I know that that's where I currently am in that flow. And we can talk more about some of the other things. But I wanted to see kind of, where are you with it right now?
Yeah, I also take December as a huge reflection month. I write down all the amazing things that happened during the year. And also this year was riddled with some not so amazing things. So I wrote them down, burned them, just to release them, acknowledge them also, because they do happen, right? And my word for this year, which I made at your retreat the first time we met last January, so it's almost a year we met, was capacity. And I'm like, why capacity? But boy, do I understand now. Like, all year, all these wild things have happened that I had no choice but to widen my capacity and grow it. But I thought it was going to be in a pleasant way, but it wasn't, but I did manifest this capacity, it just took a different
And I think
form.
we need to talk about that a little bit more too, about the box. Like, don't have a box of how you think it's coming.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's a main thing of manifesting, is like, you are wanting something, you are desiring something, aligning with something, you're following what spirit is telling you to do, and you don't know how it's going to happen. The how is open to the universe. That's the magic of manifesting, right? Like, we don't know how it works. We also don't know what time it's coming in, So last year I spent a lot of time and effort, and I felt like I wasted time. I felt like I didn't have enough time. I had all this lack surrounding time. And I was noticing that when it got to December. And because of that, I was like kind of forcing things that weren't happening, right? We talked a little bit about that. But I realized that this whole year, with my building capacity and my planting seeds, it wasn't really wasted time. It was planting seeds. And I would sit in my meditations, and I have these Joe Dispenza meditations, breaking the habit of being yourself. So it's breaking up the way my mind works, right? Which needs to be done. And basically, you are like wanting to be a new way and leaving it up to the universe to allow you to move into that. Yeah. So as soon as like the first or second of the year hit, I mean, all of these things, all of these seeds I planted and things that I worked on and things that I wanted to manifest, like, they happened so fast everywhere from every direction, to the point where I'm like, oh my God, like, it's so cool. It's such an energizing feeling to finally get what you manifest. Like, that is like an amazing moment, And so, come to find out, I didn't waste time or, effort. It just didn't come when I thought it might, or at the time, But that's another thing, is like, say I'm like thinking the right way, or manifesting, or I'm aligned, right? It doesn't always mean that you're going to get something in an appropriate time. We never know when it's going to manifest. So I could have had a bunch of negative thoughts like 6 months ago, and they could have all came out in December. Just so happened, right? So and
I think that's a really important thing. Sorry to hop in, but timing. Yes. Like, our minds, our ego minds, think that things need to happen in a certain amount of time, but time is irrelevant. Time to the universe. The universe is like, we're going to drop this in exactly when you need it, exactly when you're ready for it, exactly when everything is perfectly aligned for it to become form.
Yes, and that reminds me of our last podcast when we plan, God laughs, because no, we're not. We think we're gonna do things at certain times in certain ways, and it changes. It's
Mhm.
but
Absolutely. So, there's a formula to manifesting, and I think that it might be good for us to kind of tap into that a little bit. And then I'd love to talk about some of the amazing things that we have manifested through, actively connecting to our magical power of manifestation. So the first and foremost is you have to have a clear intention. If you are not
Mhm.
clear about what you want, then the universe is confused,
Absolutely.
right? And don't change it. Like, be really, really grounded and clear about what it is that you're setting as an intention, and then let that be. Like,
Mhm.
I'm taking a course in for financial abundance, and one of the things that the instructor said was, don't keep confusing the waiter, because she used this analogy of the waiter. You comes to your table, takes your order, puts the order in at the kitchen, and you just wait for the order to come to you.
Right.
So instead of continuing to call the waiter back over and over again to change the order, be really clear, put the order in one time, and then let it be.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, so getting a really clear vision, a really clear intention, imagining exactly what you want and how it looks, how it feels, how like I do a lot of visualizing,
Yes,
you
yeah,
know.
and that's step two, right? And
Perfect.
taking your body and
Yes.
aligning it.
Yes.
Because if you
Absolutely.
cellularly are not believing that you are that already,
Right.
then how are you going to magnetize yourself to receive it?
Right, and it's been proven that, when you are thinking of, like, what you want in the future, if you experience an elevated emotion like you'll be feeling when you actually
Mhm,
get the
mhm.
thing or achieve whatever, like, your body is always in the present moment, so it's like it's experiencing that feeling, and it's drawing that energy and that circumstance closer to you.
Mhm, mhm. And the next thing is start doing things that you'll be doing then. So, for instance, if you envision yourself having a healthy body and having lost 20 pounds, but you're not going out for walks whenever that's part of the vision that you see, then you're not aligning yourself to that joy right now, to that experience right now.
Right.
So, give yourself the space to be doing things that you see as a part of that equation.
Right. Yeah, it's super important to like take intentional steps in the direction, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So, and well, I don't know, I don't want to mess up your whatever number are we on? Because I don't want to say it before you. Go ahead. What is
Yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. Well, and so the next step is aligned action. So if you
Mhm.
are not, if you're saying yes to something that is really a no, then you're working against the energy that you're inviting in, right? So,
Absolutely.
um, so when things start to fall away, or when things come at you that aren't actually in alignment with what the vision that you're holding, you want to be really intentional with your choices and the actions that you are taking, and
Mhm.
really being purposeful with your yes.
Mhm.
So for me, it's always, um is this a yes to my vision, or is this a no to my vision?
Yes,
And so
exactly.
taking a sacred pause is what I call it, and really sitting back and evaluating it on a whole and saying, Is this taking me in the direction of where I want to go?" So if
Absolutely.
I'm intending to lose 20 pounds, but I'm still having a cocktail every night, and I'm still eating, pizza for dinner, I am not taking an aligned action towards that outcome.
Right. Yeah. And, when you create an intention, it's like a powerful declaration of how you want to feel and how you want to be as you move along to whatever it is you want, like you're saying. But, and also the intention can act as like a compass. And this goes along with what you said, because each action that you make, you're checking in. That's exactly what you're saying. And it's just really powerful to have that anchor there that you're going back to and you're making sure you're doing
Mhm.
what you said. It's like a little checkpoint, you know?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And then it's believing it, like believing that it's possible, really, keeping your mindset in that place of positive thoughts. So as you were saying before, like it's real easy for us to get caught up in the negatives.
Right.
And so it's our job to pay attention and cultivate that awareness of what am I saying to myself, and how is that either raising my vibration or bringing it down. And I would say another piece of that particular step for me is, am I surrounding myself with people that are talking the same talk, or am I surrounding myself with people that are doubters, or poking holes into whatever? Because the reality is that if I believe that it's possible, then it's possible.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If
Totally.
I don't believe it's possible, then it's not.
Right. Yeah. And I talk a lot about this quantum field of infinite possibilities that exists around us and in us. And every possible energy that exists is there. Which one are we going to draw into us? That's kind of, well, it's a lot up to us. I don't know if it's only up to us, but with our intentions and with what we want to manifest, that is where we're interacting with that energy, and when you put people in your life like doubters, right? I saw this quote the other day. It is, doubters are dreamers with broken hearts. So maybe someone that was dreaming, and then their heart just broke and they didn't get what they want, and they just stayed in that vibe. They kept going forward with that. And then they come to people like you and I, and they want to tell us doubtful things about our dreams and what we want to manifest. And clearly we don't want to be around people like that. We don't want them to influence, because, all our mind needs is a few doubts, and then we're going down the wrong road. Right.
For sure.
So, yeah, I really feel like when I surround myself with people who inspire me, people who are thinking the same things, people who are on a journey of manifesting and are living their lives that way, that is when I am going to stay in that and build momentum and, like, in a good way, feed off of them. They feed off of me, and you keep that type of energy going,
Yeah, absolutely.
And you share that with someone. So,
yeah. So then this last piece is the part that we have to really trust. Right? So having faith, having trust that you are going to be provided for. And that means trusting that the universe has your back.
Right. Yep.
Right? Everything. So there's a phrase that I use when I start to find maybe I'm having a day where I'm feeling a little lower energy, or I'm maybe having a little difficulty finding those positive affirmations, and I'm trying to fake it. I'm just saying them because I know I need to say them that day.
Right. Maybe something inside is hearing you, though, and that's even though it's not feeling.
But so then a phrase to the effect of everything is always working out in my favor. Something like that is going to help shift me from that lower vibration to the higher vibration. So part of the importance of this is that if we, again, it's trust, it's having faith, it's, there's that phrase, take the leap of faith. Well, if you don't take the leap of faith, then you don't have any opportunity to gain the rewards of the risk.
Yeah.
And a leap of faith is knowing that if you jump, the next step is right there, and it's provided for you.
Yes. Yeah. And for this faith, like I have a strong faith. I have a strong spirit. I always have. To squash my spirit is like, I don't know what you'd have to do. But if people don't have strong faith, or they are, not quite believing, or they're doubtful or whatever, a great thing to do is to say affirmations, to create affirmations, like, to get this in your mind, to change the way your mind's thinking, to introduce new thoughts, to start to believe those. Of course, Yoga Nidra implants an intention at the deepest level of our consciousness, right? So that's lovely. That's a great time to suggest something to it. And then also to listen to other people's success stories, right? So if you tell me all about these things that you manifest and how you did it, that could cause me to start to believe more in that direction. And for me, I look back at the things that I manifested, and that's proof. That just is what happened. I know that for a fact. So these are things that I would tell someone to do when they're having trouble, like, believing and manifesting, or starting to do it.
Well, and I would also say this, part of what's really working for me with the trust in it coming is the daily, we talked a few moments ago about the need to have that visualization every day. See yourself there, see yourself at the end. Wayne Dyer's, quote, see yourself at the end. That is what I always think of whenever I think of why it is I'm doing that visualization. Why am I sitting down and giving myself the space for that visualization?
Right.
And the current course that I am in, she says 4 minutes every day.
Okay, 4 minutes. Not bad. 4 minutes isn't bad.
If you give yourself 4 minutes every day to just sit in that dream space and like imagine the daydreaming that you do but take it from a more purposeful and focused intention. So you sit down and you have your request that you gave to the universe and you just see yourself at that request. It's already done. You're there.
Right.
And I will tell you that what that has done for me is especially at the beginning of the day. Like I really think that doing things early in the day is going to give so much power to your day being in alignment with what you're really wanting it to be.
Okay.
So I do this 4 minutes in the morning before I start my day. And there's something really magical that happens with that, is that then I have the joy that I feel because I visualize myself there and I visualize myself feeling it. Like I feel it in every cell of my being. I feel that excitement, that joy, that
elevated emotion.
Yeah, that sense of success and wealth in all different kinds of ways. And so what that does is it becomes my day. Like I feel that way. And then that becomes how I feel all day long. I don't feel tired. I don't feel fatigued versus if I just jump out of bed and run, then I'm operating off of fight or flight. Like, right, I gotta go.
Yeah, gotta go. Let's go.
Yeah, right.
Jump in the shower.
So I don't have to work to trust the universe when I'm giving myself that space every day. So this visualization that we're talking about is really, really, really important.
Oh, yeah.
And I do it with my hands open, like palms up. And it's gotten to the point now where I can literally feel the energy in my hands, like tingling. And in fact, my sister and I were together today and I was sharing this with her. And she was like, every time I would take my hands into this position, she said she saw my vision.
Oh,
like
cool.
right in my hands, she saw it. And I was like, wow. So just talking about it and then putting that motion, into that conversation and talking with somebody else who's very intuitive and her intuition is that vision. Like she's like, every time you took your hands like that, I could just see it.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing.
So that's how powerful the work is.
Visualization for me has been huge. Like, my God. In my journey, I was at some point very, very sick and I almost died. So in that time, I started to, of course, I was on my last leg. So I knew, oh my God, if I have to do something, let me manifest, right? So I started to do these imaginings. And so they're visualizations. You basically take what you want. You imagine yourself, like you said, healthy, whatever. So I wrote down in deep detail, every single thing. My skin is glowing. I'm at the beach. I have this color bathing suit on. I'm with someone. I don't know who they are, but they have brown hair and blah, blah, blah. So, and I would read it to myself like 3 times a day because I was in like super fight or flight. And I had 3 of those. One of them was I was at the front of a classroom. There was floor to ceiling windows on one side. And I was like delivering some important information and I could see everyone, how they felt in the crowd. So I would read these to myself and I would really implant it. And even though I was feeling very bad, I could get the emotion up in my body a little bit. And at least I could enjoy it at the time. And so some time passed by. And during the next year, I started to like feel a lot better. And then I moved to this area on the beach. And so one day I was at the beach and I just felt great, and which was unusual. And then I just like looked at my friend with brown hair and we both had on these black bathing suits. And I'm like, oh my God.
I'm here.
Yeah. And then for that other one I mentioned, I basically was addressing a group of people and I was talking to them and I was teaching them something with yoga. Right. And so then I just looked to the side. It was the other side, but there were floor to ceiling windows and the people were looking at me the way I thought they would. So you can't tell me I didn't manifest that. I mean, come on, it's pretty specific.
Right. So imagine if we get even more specific. Like we can literally create a fertile environment for anything.
Yes, we can.
So I know that the dream life that I am creating right now is coming. Like there's no doubt in my mind. I can feel it. It is at my fingertips, and I am very excited for how this year is going to bring me closer to that. So again, I am letting go of the timeline. I am accepting that it is going to manifest itself at exactly the perfect time, and that I do not have to do anything other than trust in my process, and continue to do it every single
do your practice.
And it is literally an every single day necessity.
Right.
So when you're really wanting to amplify and create a manifesting practice in your life, consistency. This is the biggest tip that I can give you is remain consistent and trust in the process.
Yeah. Your only assignment is to do your practice, right? That's only what's required of you. This imagining, this feeling in the body, that's all you have to do. The universe is going to take care of the rest, basically. And if you don't believe it, I mean, watch lots of videos, listen to us, just, I think for me, that's step one. You have to believe it can happen. Like if you don't believe that, the whole rest of it, forget it.
Well, and I'll just share my manifesting story. I dreamed of going to Hawaii all my life, and I did not believe it was possible. Like I just had this lack mentality for much of my life, and just was like, it's just never going to happen.
Right.
And then when I met my husband, I thought, oh, maybe someday we'll go, and then it just wasn't coming.
Right.
And then I had this opportunity when I started shifting my paradigms of belief, and I started doing more manifesting work, and I started really believing in the possibility of life. Then my friend moved to Hawaii.
Awesome.
And so in their transition, they had a dog, and the dog, because of the regulations in Hawaii, could not come with them at the time they moved. They had to have certain shots and such, and then they had to hold quarantine for a certain period of time, and then they could come. So she's telling me, well, I don't know how I'm going to get her there. I might have to do this or do that, or I might have to come back, and la la la. And I just looked at her. I was like, I'll go. I'll fly with her. Like,
of course you would.
I went like 2 years prior to that. I never would have said I'll do that. But I was in this place of everything that I need is going to be provided, and it will happen. And sure enough, 6 weeks later, I'm on a flight to go to Hawaii. And so I will say this, I manifested myself there twice.
Cool.
5 years apart.
Awesome.
And interestingly enough, it was my son that was the key to the second one manifested time, because that was his dream trip for graduation, and he graduated in 2021. So I was like, well, I don't know. I know I said that if I could make it happen, I would, but I don't know. And then it just literally, because he just kept saying, I really want to do this. I know it's going to happen someday. And then I had this dream, and that's a story for another day about my dreams and how they come true. But I had this dream, and I messaged my friend, and I was like, hey, so how do you feel about, having a visitor later this year? And she was like, sure. And then within 24 hours, I had flights.
Yes. Awesome.
It was just fun. So, really, truly, where you put your thoughts is where your energy is going to go. So be intentional, get clear, do the work, and then trust.
Yeah. And ask for guidance, ask to be shown how. Like, just tell the universe you want to see how, because you don't know, but this is what you want.
Well, and I'll tell you, to take that a step further, as if you do that visualization every day, you don't have to ask how, because it's going to show up.
Exactly. No,
And
yeah,
it's
you don't
gonna
have
go
to ask.
really,
Right.
really, really fast. It's
Yes.
literally like the minute I started doing the visualization for the vision that I'm holding right now, within a week,
Awesome.
things started changing and just transforming, and opportunities showed up and things started to shift. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, it like blows your hair back.
And then, I sit down, I do the next meditation, I let go of something that needs to be let go of. And then all of a sudden, spirit downloads, you're going to do this now. And I'm like, oh, okay. But you got to take action on that inspiration. There's a book that I really love, and I actually have listened to it several times, and I'm going to listen to it again. It's Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic.
Big Magic? Cool. Never heard of it.
And this book talks all about inspiration and taking action on inspiration, and how the creative process will express itself if you follow. And one of the stories she talks about that I love is that she had this inspiration. It came in. It wasn't really working for her. She encountered somebody else. I'm not going to give the whole story, but there was a situation that happened, and all of a sudden, this person wrote this story.
Wow.
So if you don't take action on the inspiration, spirit will find somebody that will. The universe will find somebody that will, because it needs to be birthed into the world. And I can tell you, I have an experience with another practitioner that I would have these ideas, and then like I wouldn't do anything with it, and like 3 weeks later, she's doing it, and I was like, "What?" So the reality is now if I hear something, it's getting written down. I'm taking action right then, because I know that it is aligned to what I'm asking for. And even if it doesn't make sense, even if I don't know how it's going to happen, even if I feel a little bit anxious about it, because I'm like, I don't know, that seems like a lot. I'm still writing it down, and I'm still doing it. And every time I listen, magic happens.
Right. And I've watched you do this all year. I've seen you get guidance and be like, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. And then you do it. You might be like a little, apprehensive or not make sense, but I've watched you do it. And then I've watched these amazing things happen for you, especially. And now lately, I feel like you're really kind of blowing up, and a lot of things are, going in your favor the way you're, imagining. So super
as they are for you, my friend.
Yeah, it's really cool. Really cool energies right now.
Yeah. I'm grateful that we can play in that energies together. So thank you so much for joining us for our chat on the power of manifesting. And we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Yeah, thank you so much. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
You have been listening to the Bring Joy Forward podcast. Conversations to explore, heal, and grow. You can find us at bringjoyforward.com, and we'd love to have you join us in our community Facebook group. Thank you for listening.